Today's topic on Critical Insights, Cybersecurity of Critical Infrastructure. How can critical infrastructure entities ensure they are protected from cyber threats?
We talk about cybersecurity and we talk about cyber threats. We've been involved with improving our cybersecurity world for decades now. So most utilities have the basics down. You have your firewalls, you have your malware protection tools, you have your logging systems, you have your access management programs. You have the essentials, you have the basics established. But where we start to fail is by not having strong disciplines to those processes. Security is a set of processes, and it's something that has to be done all the time. You can't stop. You never get to stop. And that's one of the most essential things in protecting ourselves against cyber threats is assuring the tools that we have deployed are properly configured. We didn't just buy a tool and say, yay, we're winning because we bought this widget of the day, and we bought it and we stuck it on a server and turned it on and walked away. That's not going to do you any good. You need to be able to take that and properly configure it for your environment. You got to properly man that tool, make sure it's up to date at all times, make sure that you are getting usefulness out of that tool, and then using it for why you bought it. It's not necessarily just to protect stuff. Like we've talked about risk management before. A lot of these tools feed data to risk management decision-making processes. So it has to continue to go, and it has to continue to be managed. And I think that's one of the number one things that organizations really need to take time and think about is, do I have the proper staffing to do this? Are my tools properly configured? Am I managing my processes? Are my people working on here happy? That's another aspect of it. Security can be darn boring. It really can. When you have a process that you have to do all the time over and over and over and over, it can get stale. So leadership also has to be highly involved. They have to be, assuring that culture is positive. I have a bit of an analogy of how that's going. One of the most boring things I can think of ever doing is managing garbage. Being a garbage man, maybe you love it, but I can't imagine that being a fun thing to do every day, right? Is going out, collecting garbage cans, taking it to the garbage dump and dumping them in, or even those that are operating the dump themselves. That could become very monotonous and maybe not a very fun job. Maybe you love that, but I can see that becoming very boring. Here in Portland, Oregon, we have an organization called Metro that manages a lot of our garbage, and they have a big dumps all over the place. I was recently there, and I was amazed at how happy these people were. They were loving their job, and everybody's smiling, everybody's happy. And I asked one guy once, I said, why? I said, every time I come here, you're just happy. He's happy, she's happy, everyone is happy. Why is that? And they go, because our bosses make this fun. We have little challenges every day. We have all kinds of fun things they come up with, these ideas that, hey, try to use this word, with the customers. Here, we're going to come in and I'm going to give you this crazy word. Try to embed that into your sentence. They also, what does one guy said? He said, we try to count how many Volkswagen bugs come in here filled with garbage to dump. So we play slug bug. And it's just fun. So taking that analogy, that principle that they have for this organization, Metro, take that back to your cybersecurity program and embed it. Make sure you have some fun things for your people to do. That's what leaders should be doing, is making sure that the people are doing their job, but also having fun at it, if at all possible. Do the best you can, and that will encourage people to do those monotonous type of processes over and over again without complaint, and it's going to be better for your organization. That'll really have a positive impact on your cybersecurity programs.
What are the most common cybersecurity threats to critical infrastructure?
Cybersecurity threats and infrastructure, it's not much different than everywhere else. I think most critical infrastructures have become a target over the years. So, a lot of the phishing threats that are out there are big time. They're probably the top cybersecurity threat right now. But you have your malware, which includes ransomware, and then even worse, you have these targeted APTs, these advanced persistent threats that are coming in. These APTs are really targeted, and they'll last for a long time. This is where a bad actor or a series of bad actors are planning, and they're embedding themselves, embedding tools into your organization, through zero-day, vulnerabilities, and they're sitting there waiting for their timing to call on, their bots or whatever they have deployed out there to do harm to your organization. That's a big one. It's not very common, but that is happening. Yeah, the phishing and the malware in our industry is huge, and that's the way in, right? Those are where organizations have the biggest failures. The threats are state-sponsored in some cases. I think it's becoming more so in our industry as it becomes more and more prominent that it's possible to bring down a critical infrastructure and have a very negative impact on an economy, on fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That you bed that into your environment, into your consumer base, and that is a big concern. So those threats to the critical infrastructure are becoming more pronounced. It's the common things though. It's the malware, it's the phishing, it's those APTs, it's the, just bad actors wanting to do bad things. Often the most common is opportunity. It's somebody just doing a flyby. They're not really targeting you. That is probably the most common, but in critical infrastructure it's becoming more and more common to have those target-based attacks.
What role does employee education play in cybersecurity?
With cybersecurity, the technologists can only do so much. You can put as many defenses as you can in play. You can have all your different procedures and your processes, but it only takes a single person to bypass those. Somebody to click the wrong thing, somebody to ignore a procedure or a process, somebody not doing what they should do or accidentally doing something we would rather them not. So your end user education is so important, and you have to educate them on the whys too, not just what they have to do. Again, you'll hear me preaching this all the time, is you quit telling people what to do, educate them why they shouldn't be doing it, make them part of the solution, make them understand that you are, our first line of defense. You're the end user sitting on my network using our tools. You have privileged access. You could cause a lot of harm. So let's be careful. And here's how to be careful. And that education plays such a huge role in the success of any cybersecurity program. And it's because of those things.
Can you discuss emerging technologies or practices in the cybersecurity field that can better protect critical infrastructure?
It's often said that there's nothing new in cybersecurity. It's been done. Security, even physical security, it's been done. What's emerging, what's new? There's definitely emerging capabilities. There's new tools that make things that we did automated. So you have a lot of technologies that are coming in and automating things that we don't normally have so much automation in. One of them I find that is probably going to take off big time is log management. We've always had log management. We've had rule-based, so we had triggers. If you hit this threshold, then alert on this, or generate a report to let me know that this is a bad thing that might be happening. And that has a little bit of intelligence built into it. It's based on business rules, and somebody has to go in there and configure that. Or there is, some kind of a pattern that you add to it that it recognizes as pattern. So there's some intelligence in those things. But with AI and machine learning coming up, wow. Can you imagine taking that same artificial intelligence that we see in ChatGPT, where we type in a few words and it can write a book for us, and apply that to log data, security log data, and say, hey, look for this in this packet of 1 billion logs and let me know, what you see, or anything like that. And then it to automatically understand and learn what you're trying to achieve. I think we're going to have, a huge impact in positive security controls based on AI and machine learning. And that, to me, that's the biggest emerging thing that's happening right now. So if you liked everything that you heard here today, keep us in mind. We're Archer Energy Solutions. This is what we do. We live and breathe critical infrastructure security, physical and cyber, and operational and planning. It is our life. It is what we have built our entire organization around, and we're excited to be able to help anyone that needs any help. Give us a call.
If you need assistance protecting your critical infrastructure, reach out and contact Archer today.